Well, for this particular program, that transition has been quite tough because we're a very hands-on, very kind of real-world, real-time focused program. It's been difficult to transition from things that are in hand and first-hand to things that are then online and abstract. But we've actually come up with a really good way of doing that, and that is in a way to get the students to focus still in the real world, still in the immediate space that they're in. And so what we've done is we've transitioned a lot of our exercises to, rather than being, of course, in the classroom and hands-on and prototype focused, to then being focused on the student's space, the actual context and the place that the student is sitting in. So rather than increasing the abstraction, we're trying to bring it back to being still very hands-on, but just hands-on in a very individual way. And in some ways, this is actually a pretty interesting development because it really forces kind of an inward focus and a focus on the immediate context that the students are in. So we feel like it's working out quite well. So let's see, here I teach several classes, one of them being Paradigms of Creativity. And for me, I think that particular class is one of my favorites. And interestingly enough, the curriculum hasn't really changed much in the years since I first started the class. And I think that's because it has a really interesting and kind of exciting build-up from abstraction to materiality, and then eventually into kind of design and functionality. But at the same time, we're always focusing on communication. And so watching how the communication and the abstraction and the understanding evolves through those exercises is really quite fun. Well, you know, I think one of the really interesting aspects of this program is that we are open to students of a wide variety of backgrounds. And so because students are coming to us at different levels of experience, different kind of age groups, different professions, a lot of times students bring a really diverse set of experiences to our explorations. And so then watching those students then kind of turn around after this 2-year experiment and go back to maybe a new career or oftentimes an existing career, seeing how that development influences their choices, whether it's in a way returning to where they were before or trying something new. The interesting thing is that we get a really positive response in both ways, and that the students are able to bring a fresh perspective to, again, a new exploration, or a fresh perspective to something they were already kind of deeply exploring before. Yeah, I mean, I think the best advice I can give for those interested in the program, interested in kind of shifting or transitioning their design future, whether they're just starting off as a designer, or oftentimes we have seasoned, experienced designers that come in. I think the best advice I can give is to constantly consume design. In the way that musicians, no matter how young or how old, are constantly listening to music, you know, by consuming design. And when I say consuming design, I don't mean going out and buying expensive goods. I mean, you know, reading about it, you know, of course, looking at the blogs online, but really getting into the depth of it, understanding where these things are coming from, understanding how they came to exist, understanding the thought process behind the designers, the team that brought that thing to fruition. And as you understand that more, as you kind of consume that design, that process, you start to actually develop your own vocabulary. And then the next step is learning how to communicate it. So I think really just consuming as much design as possible, ideally through books because they give you the depth. The next task is really trying to understand how to communicate it. And a lot of times that's really simply about practicing your English. So it's a simple thing, but being able to communicate your ideas is the key aspect of design, because you can have the world's best idea in here, but if you can't get it out, it's really difficult and frustrating. So really, I think that, just building up your design vocabulary and then being able to then execute that vocabulary is really the simplest way you can prepare.